Jade, and I'm here again with Rose. Today we're going to be talking about how to work as a dance teacher in Japan. Ooh. Rose, take it away!
Dun 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 dun. A Jade abroad.
How do you get a job as a dance teacher in Japan?
Well, okay, my first job teaching dance in Japan was at a kids studio. I was working in an office at the time.
I was going to say, how did you get into Japan? Let's start there. How did you get a visa to get to Japan?
I think that's a good place to start because you're not going to get a visa to become like a dance teacher. I used to get this question all the time.
Yeah.
Like when I was in Korea too.
How did you go to Korea and become a dancer?
You can't really just show up and start working in entertainment because you need a visa to be able to work. A lot of people don't realize this, I think, if you haven't lived abroad.
Yeah.
But you can't just go abroad and start working, right? Somebody needs to
sponsor you to get there.
Right. So when I came to Japan, I was working in an office. I was making websites. And
how did you get that job? You got it while you were in South Korea. You applied for it.
I didn't apply. Somebody offered it to me. And they were like,
you want to move to Tokyo?
and I was like,
You're like, well, I guess.
sure. I don't know.
I mean, my Tuesday's free, so.
Yeah. Off I go. So it was a little bit spontaneous, but that's okay. So yeah, they sponsored my visa.
Okay.
Did not enjoy that job whatsoever. So I did work at that office for a full year before quitting, but I was like,
no, I'm not gonna give up. Maybe it'll get better.
it didn't. So, but about a month into moving here, I was like,
I need something else in my life.
and I'm also a workaholic, so I was like,
I'm just gonna get another job on the weekend.
so I applied at this kids dance studio. I still work there. I've been working there for almost 5 years now. So I started there. And then from there, I think especially if you're a foreigner, it can be kind of hard to break into the dance scene because people aren't going to come to your class if they don't know who you are.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So step one, you need to go to class. Take as much class as you can.
So get
seen.
get to know your face.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Do a good job in class so people want to take your class.
Right.
You know, participate in shows and make friends. And
How do you participate in shows?
Right. So there are a lot of dance sort of showcase events that happen in Tokyo and all over Japan. And like different choreographers will enter like a number into the show. And usually if you like know the choreographer, if you take their class a lot, they'll either ask you to be part of it or you can be like,
I want to do it.
and so you enter into their team, you rehearse together. It's a really good way to make friends, to meet other dancers because you have to rehearse together and perform together. And then you perform at the show. And yeah, I've also entered some numbers into some shows before. But that's a really good way, doing shows and taking class.
Cool.
And then a lot of people start by just renting a studio and holding their own classes.
All right.
Yeah, it's the
That's
easiest
kind of what
way.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that's how I started. I still do it sometimes. But yeah, that's it. And then eventually, once you're known enough, studios will start offering you jobs, the bigger studios.
Is that what happened to you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you started with your kiddie studio, got seen by others, took part in shows, started your own class in a...
And like a rental studio, because you can like, rent a space.
You made your own classes at that point.
Exactly.
And then the studios that you were taking classes at offered you.
Yeah.
Ah.
Like oftentimes if you take a class enough times, if you get to know the teacher, they'll ask you to like sub their class if they can't teach or something like that. That's a really good way because it kind of gives you like credibility. Like,
Oh, that teacher trusted that person enough to sub their class, so they must be decent.
yeah.
Right, cool.
I think it's half networking and half actually being good at dancing. You don't have to be the best dancer to be the most successful teacher. You have to be good at both dancing and networking, which can be exhausting because some people just want to dance.
Yeah.
So I understand. Sometimes I also just want to dance. Like I don't want to be out here being like, see me. Yeah, it's a little bit exhausting, but I think that's how you have to do it.
Yeah. And now you're pretty successful, huh?
Yeah, I would say pretty successful. I'm getting there.
So I have another question. So for people who don't speak any Japanese when they first come over, were you one of those people?
I was.
How did you get around that?
I can speak Korean, and Korean and Japanese are similar languages.
Really?
Yes, the grammar is very similar, and there are a lot of words that are almost the same.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, for
So-
example?
For example, gosoku in Korean it's goso.
Oh.
So yeah, so it was easy right off the bat to kind of understand because the flow of the sentences are the same.
The grammatical order?
Yeah, exactly. So when I was learning Korean, I was like,
Oh my god, it's so confusing.
because it's like opposite of English, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I came to Japan, I was like,
Oh, I get it. I've already gone through this mental death.
threshold.
yeah, exactly.
Mental death. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was okay. I could kind of understand, but I obviously did not know how to speak. So for me, I was lucky. I didn't really have to study Japanese.
How did you learn Japanese then? Go on, I
I
know you love telling this story. How did you learn Japanese?
I befriended this teacher at one of the studios in Shibuya, and we used to like sit outside together after class and like smoke and just like awkward silence. He does not speak a word of English. Well, he does now. He's gotten a lot better. You've met him. He doesn't speak any English at that time, and I was just so awkward. And I like know this situation from Korea because I've had this situation of like sitting next to somebody and just not being able to talk to them.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
I know how to fix this.
what I do in an awkward language barrier situation is I just start asking the person like how to say different things. Like,
How do you say this in Japanese? How do you say this? How do you say this? How do you say this?
and eventually like, A, you learn words, and B, like it just fills the silence.
Right.
So I used to do that with Sweet Daisuke, and one day he was just like,
Hey, Rose.
because we were always outside the studio after class just in awkward painful silence, and he's like,
Hey, Rose, do you like drinking?
and I was like,
Yeah.
so he like disappeared and came back and brought me like a strong zero, which is an alcoholic beverage that we can, and you can drink
Very
out on the
strong.
street in Japan. So we
Gets
sat
you
there.
really drunk.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
And so we developed this friendship, and he kind of just taught me how to speak Japanese just by like struggling.
Aww.
Yeah. I don't think it would be possible if I didn't already know how to speak Korean, because learning the grammar is really like the order of everything and like all the particles and blah 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 is actually really hard.
It's a mind.
It is, it really
It
is.
really is. So, for example, in English we say, I want to go to the toilet. In Japanese, that structure would be,
My toilet go want
私はトイレに行きたい. Yeah. I toilet
to
go want.
Yeah.
I toilet to go want.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it's...
yeah, exactly. So I didn't have to like go through that. So I was, but there's still like basic words that I don't know because I never studied. And people are like,
Rose, why don't you know that very, very basic word?
I'm just like,
I'm sorry. Now I know it.
Yeah, like I started in a weird way
I
with
did,
the
I
Japanese
did.
lessons.
yeah, I'm sorry. But I think it is important to know Japanese if you want to succeed in something like
In
entertainment.
the dance industry.
Because it's so important to be able to network with people. If you can't talk to people, you better be a really, really good dancer. Like really good. Because I think it would be really hard because it's such a big part of it.
Okay. Anything else you want to add to this before we end for the day?
Dancing, I don't know, come to my dance class.
Rose has dance classes. I can drop the information for you in the description of this video. Go check her out.
I have Instagram. I'm a big Instagram addict, so
Yeah, you can see her dancing on her Instagram. I always see her dancing.
that's what I do.
So, information is in the box. And please subscribe, like, and comment if you want to.
Ring the
And
bell.
see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Mwah!